Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. So as I have promised to record and upload the final segment of Ganden Lha Gyäma practice or the Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga practice. So I am now recording the final segment. So hopefully by the end of this, you all have a complete set of practices if you are inclined to do the Ganden Lha Gyäma Guru Yoga practice. So before we continue on to the remaining chapter or the remaining content, let me just do a quick recap on what we have discussed so far. So in the last class, we have mainly focused on the actual practices. We have already completed the preliminary practices. So in the last class, we talked about the actual practices, which is divided into three subheadings. Invocation, so you first invite the merit field, and then you engage in the seven limb or sevenfold practices to accumulate merits or to purify the negativities. So after that, it comes the supplication, where we make requests to Lama Tsongkhapa to bless us with the two attainments and all the other blessings. So we have covered the general way of supplication, general way of making the requests through reciting the 5-line Mixima prayers. So the first one is to make supplication to the Lama Tsongkhapa on the basis of his outer qualities. So here, one way of supplicating, one way of making requests to Lama Tsongkhapa is through remembering his external qualities or academic excellences. So here it says, so this is basically meaning of the Mixima. Migme tsewe terjen chenre si time kembe ombon jambe yang tubon malu jomze sanwen ta kanjen kebe sujen songaba losan tawe shabla sowan depths. As we discussed in our last class that it was originally 4 lines of prayers, and then the Seju lineage has added on extra line to signify or to mean that Lama Tsongkhapa is also the manifestation of Vajrapani. So when we recite these 5-line Mixima prayers, so there are different ways to think about. So most of the time we recite without much thought. So here, one way is to remember the Lama Tsongkhapa's academic excellences. So here, as we discussed in the last class, that is is using an analogy that as with the Bodhisattvas, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, generosity is unrivaled when it comes to power of compassion. Likewise, when it comes to wisdom, Manjushri is unrivaled amongst the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. For Vajrapani, when it comes to Vajrapani is unexcelled, or what you call unrivaled. No one can compete with Vajrapani when it comes to power. So using that as an analogy, and then we say the Lama Tsongkhapa, when it comes to scholarly, is it? When it comes to academic excellences, nobody rivaled. There was no comparison. Nobody could compete with Lama Tsongkhapa in the land of snow, which is Tibet. So in here, we remember Lama Tsongkhapa's external qualities, which is mainly Lama Tsongkhapa's academic excellencies. And then, we make pray a request to Lama Tsongkhapa that we too be blessed to become like Lama Tsongkhapa in terms of academic excellences, and then to become like Lama Tsongkhapa. Then another way to supplicate Lama Tsongkhapa is on the basis of his inner qualities. So now here we are saying that not only Lama Tsongkhapa, you resembles the three law protecting lords, the Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara, and Vajrapani, in terms of your quality, external qualities, but you also possess the same quality as these three. When it comes to compassion, you also possess the same amount or same level of compassion, like the way Avalokiteshvara possess. In terms of wisdom, you are equal to Manjushri. When it comes to power, you are equal to Vajrapani. So basically here we are remembering Lama Tsongkhapa's inner qualities, that Lama Tsongkhapa possess the same level of same kind of compassion, wisdom, and power. So therefore, I go to refuge in you, and please bless me to possess or to acquire the same qualities, inner qualities, like you. Or in other words, may I become like you. Please bless me to become like you. So this is one way to think about when we recite the 5-line Migzima. And then up to here, we are making requests as if Lama Tsongkhapa is separate from the three protecting lords. In Tibetan we call it Rigsom Gombong. So here we are saying that you are not separate. You are the same actually. So you are Manjushri in a different form. You are manifestation of Avalokiteshvara. You are manifestation of Vajrapani. So I make requests to you by weaving you as no different, no separate from the three protecting lords. So please bless me, and may I too become like you. So these three ways of supplicating is also known as Chinang Samsum. That means external supplication, inner supplication, and then secret supplication. So here secret is in a sense that Lama Tsongkhapa is no different. It is actually one. One that we will look at Lama Tsongkhapa as what you call the emanation or the manifestation. So in reality, it is actually the three protecting lords, but of course in a different form. So these are the general way to think about when we recite Mixima. So of course, when we do these recitations, we should also visualize what you call the purification part, and also the increasing of the enhancement of the good qualities. In other words, receiving the blessings of Lama Tsongkhapa's holy body, speech, and mind. So as you see in the picture, so there are rays of light. So you can imagine these as kind of a tube, light tube, or light tube, is it tube light, which is hollow, and then each from the heart of Lama Tsongkhapa and the two disciples, there's separate light tubes emits, and then they meet just before it reaches our crown. And because we imagine it as hollow, so we can also visualize nectars emitting from the hearts of Lama Tsongkhapa and the two disciples, and then flows through the light tube and then enters into our body through the crown of our head. As the nectars and lights enters and fills up our body, we should imagine that all the negativities that we have accumulated over umpteen eons in the past are all cleansed away. It emits our body in the form of soot or what do you call, all kinds of in the form of soot or what do you call, something black in color, liquid form. And we can even visualize our negativities in the form of scorpions, then what else, the tadpoles, and then all that what do you call, exiting from the pores of our body. And as a result, our body is now cleansed and purified. It becomes like a crystal. It becomes like a clear glass jar or glass jar. And then at the same time, we can also visualize that through that tube, nectars in the form in the yellow, orange nectars flows through the light tube. So these nectars are, of course, blessings of Lama Tsongkhapa and the two disciples. What do you call, Lama Tsongkhapa and the two disciples, blessings of their holy bodies, speech, and mind. And then it enters into our body through the crown of our head. And then imagine that we are being filled up with all that quality, and we too become like Lama Tsongkhapa. We too now possess all that quality. Whatever qualities Lama Tsongkhapa and the true disciples possess, we are equally filled up with that. We equally possess that kind of the qualities. So here, of course, in reality, that is not the case, but it is important to imagine that this really happens, because somehow it leaves an imprint, and then we get a blessing. So this is a general visualization that we can do all the time whenever we recite, whenever we chant the 5-line Mixima. So on top of this, Lama Tsongkhapa, or the Ganden Lha Gyäma practice, is known for its power to enhance or increase our wisdoms. Normally, the wisdoms are characterized into 7 categories. So we have something called great wisdom, clear wisdom, quick wisdom, profound wisdom, and then, of course, when it comes to really helping sentient beings spiritually, then we need to have these other wisdoms, the wisdom of explaining, the wisdom of debating, the wisdom of composing. So even in, I think, psychology, I think they talk about various forms of intelligence. They talk about general intelligence. Then they also talk about something called fluid intelligence or crystallized intelligence. I don't know how well this will fit into our categorization, but here when we talk about great wisdom here is this ability to discern the meaning of the infinite scripture. So this is ability to discern the meaning of infinite scriptures without relying on another person. Remember, we know of some very intelligent people. When they just look or read a piece of article, whatever it is, they need to rely on another person to explain. The moment they just goes through the content, they get it. It becomes so clear to them. So those people have that kind of those people who have that kind of intelligence or wisdom, I think we can say that they have great wisdom. So here we are not talking about conventional understandings. We're talking about the texts, the scriptural meanings. So for many of us, including myself, when we read a Dharma text, we need a teacher to explain to us, especially when it comes to tenets, the different viewpoints of these various schools. Even relying on our teacher, we still don't get it. But there are people who have this kind of great wisdom whereby they just need to read it and they get it. So that's called great wisdom. So that would be wonderful to have, especially when we are studying that huge volumes of Buddha's teachings. So that's what is called great wisdom. And then there's something called clear wisdom, not confused about subtle and detailed difficult points. So this is not just getting the general idea of whatever you are reading. In this case, what is to be abandoned, what is to be cultivated when it comes to Dharma understanding. So not only you get the general idea, but you also are able to really, what you call, know the subtle differences, detail to the finer points. Like me, I can get the gist of the concept. If I read something, I get the gist of the meaning, the gist of that whatever the topic is talking about. But I do not have the ability not to be confused with subtlety and all that finer points. But some people, they are very good at these details. There is no room for confusion. They get it. So that one is due to what is known as clear wisdom. That is also another great thing to have. And then quick wisdom. Quick wisdom is more like, some people, they just listen one time to the teachings and they understand fully. Whereas some of us, even after repeatedly listening to the teachings, even after repeatedly reading the text, we only get 25%, we understand 25% of the whole lot. So that shows that we do not possess what is known as quick wisdom. So if we are able to have that wisdom, then it won't take long for us to really understand the meaning of all that teaching. And then profound wisdom, unfathomable in discerning the meanings. This is really, you can really go deep down, not just on the surface level. Some people, they can talk at the surface level. They will talk, but when you probe further, then they get stuck. When you dig deeper, they don't get it. Whereas those who possess this kind of profound wisdom, even if it is just a one line or one stanza, they can really, really dig into it. They can really make it so profound. Remember the Phagpa Lamjungpa when he was asked to teach. So he actually has one stanza, and that the meaning of that stanza he taught for, I think, several weeks. So that's you can do when you possess profound wisdom. So it would be wonderful to acquire all, if not even one, of the wisdoms. We have certain degree of all these wisdoms, but our is not fully what you call blossomed. We still need to improve. We still need to enhance. So, most effective way to enhance all this wisdom is through Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga. In the commentaries which I have come across, of course there are many commentaries that I have not seen. One, I think it was from Dharma Rinpoche. So he wrote in his commentary to say that from his own experience, this really works. And then another Amdo Lama, I think it's one Ganden Rinpoche. So he mentioned in his commentary that it took him only 1 month to really see the difference, to really witness the effectiveness of this practice. So that is why it is important for us to include these visualizations when we do Migzima recitation. So today for this class, I'm not going to cover the wisdom of explaining the visualization involving wisdom of explaining, wisdom of debating, wisdom of composing, because it's going to be too long and then it will confuse you. So we will just stick to the first four wisdoms. So there is this general, what do you call the general rule. Let me just get that in the Tibetan. So in Tibetan it says, Mada Chuda Mishi Sel, Kui Chishin Sungi Sel, Sabun Nyurwa, Changzen Sap, Legum Ridi, Legregi, Chedan Soda, Zombawos. So this, what you call, summarizes the visualization. So each wisdom relies on a particular visualization. But for all, there is a general precedent or general visualization that always, what is the word now, follows, that comes before, kind of what do you call it, preliminary, or you begin with that and then followed by the particular or specific visualization. So Mada Truda Mishi cells. So before we begin any of these visualizations to enhance these four different wisdoms, we need to begin our practice to, with the visualization to cleanse the impurities. So madaba chuba, that means whatever negativities that we have accumulated, first we need to try to cleanse that away, to make ourselves pure or wash away all that negativity. So that's mada chudams. And then eliminate the ignorance. Ignorance is the one that is hindering our wisdom to shine. So we need to eliminate that darkness created by ignorance so that our wisdom can shine brightly. So these two visualization follows every what do you call part of the practice. So for example, before we do the visualization to enhance the great wisdom, we must begin with the visualization to cleanse the impurities and eliminate the ignorance. So now when it comes to the four different wisdoms, so how this is done is great wisdom through body. So that means you visualize the Lama Tsongkhapa's holy body. So your main focus is visualizing the images of Lama Tsongkhapa entering into you. We will cover that later in detail. So I'm just giving a kind of a summary here. So clear, so we're talking about clear wisdom through speech. So speech, here speech represents, speech is represented by the Migzima lines, the Migzima, what you call the string of Migzima words. And then the quick wisdom is achieved through visualizing or focusing on the seed. Seed, here seed is the syllable, the seed syllable, which is di. And then profound wisdom is achieved through visualizing or achieved by focusing on the implements. the following two lines we don't need, we are not going to cover. So now let's look at each one. So here it says, by the force of having fervently requested in this way, hollow beams of white light are emitted from the hearts of the perfect pure Father and Sons, and combining into one, enter my crown. Remember, this is what I was talking about. So you make fervent requests for Lama Tsongkhapa to bless us with the what you call, with the bless us with the great wisdom. So upon our making the request, what happens is, so our visualizing, what we have to visualize is, by the force of having fervently request in this way, hollow beams, so these light beams are hollow of light are emitted from the hearts of the perfect, so of course from the heart of Lama Tsongkhapa and the two disciples. So all these three lights combine into one, and then that light enters into our body through the crown, and then white nectars, color of milk. So this is the purification part. So during the purification part, so we visualize everything in white. The light also in the white color, and also the nectar in white color. So white nectar, the color of milk, flows from the opening of the tube of white light. So it enters into us, and then it cleanses all our negativities, all the unpleasant experiences, cleansing all my sicknesses, spirit harms, negative karmas. All these sicknesses, spirit karmas, of course, were the result of our negative karma. So whatever is causing this, that cause also is eliminated. And then why we are unable to really have realization is because there is so much obscurations. So obscurations also cleanse, and not only the obscurations, whatever imprints there, whatever seeds are left there. So everything, without exception, is cleansed. As a result, our body now becomes pure. We have gotten rid of all that obstacles. We have gotten rid of all that negativity, negative force, whatever you name it. So all that is now purified. We become pure and become clear as crystal. So now we have done that part. The cleansing part is done. So now we are doing that, the other side of the other part of the visualizing, which is to enhance the qualities. So once again, so now after that, once you are cleansed, you make another strong request for Lama Tsongkhapa to enhance in us the great wisdom. So because of your request, once again great wisdom flows forth in the form of orange nectar, filling my body. From the atoms of the nectar clarified in the form of perfect, pure Manjushri, light radiates. So this one, the first part I will explain, then the rest are same. So this is, there needs a bit of explanation, otherwise it seems a bit complicated. So here what we are doing is, let me just get the note here. So because of our making frequent requests, what happens is from the Lama Tsongkhapa's heart through that beams of light, what happens is the orange nectar started to flow, and it enters from our crown, and then our body is filled with that nectar. Then what happens is, as we are filled, as our body is filled with that nectar, every atom of that nectar kind of transforms into Manjushri, into image of, or a body or holy image of Manjushri. So now your body is filled with countless Manjushri. Then what happens from from those countless Manjushri that is now within you, started to radiate light, and that light from that light brings forth here the great wisdom of the Viru ones of the 10 directions and their sons. Absorbs that light, brings down or hooks the great wisdom of the victorious ones of the 10 directions. So victorious ones here means Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So those Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they all acquire great wisdom. So that radiated light somehow hooks down the great wisdoms of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the form of Manjushri, and then absorbs into the existing Manjushri that your body is filled with. So all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas wisdom comes, so simply put, comes down, enters into us in the form of Manjushri, and then dissolves or absorbs into the Manjushiris that are already we have visualized within us. And by absorbing all that into the forms of bodies that we have visualized, we have to imagine that we have now achieved great wisdom. The wisdom that does not rely on another person, other things, our understanding of things. We ourselves independently can understand every meaning of the text. So that's the visualization for this one. So you see there are 2 steps or 2 stages. So first you imagine that, from Lama Tsongkhapa and the 2 disciples, ray of the nectars enters into our body, and that every ounce or every atom of that nectar becomes or transforms into countless or atoms, countless number of Manjushiris. And then from those countless Manjushri emits rays of light, which brings forth or brings down the great wisdoms of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the form of Manjushri, and then dissolves into the Manjushiris, the countless Manjushiris within our body. And when that happens, we imagine that we have gained the great wisdom. I hope it's clear now. So now the visualization for achieving clear wisdom. So it's more or less same, but it's just that the focus shifts. So now we are requesting for Lama Tsongkhapa to grant us the clear wisdom. So we make strong requests by reciting Mimen Sevente Jinjere Sitime Kimbe Ombu Jambe Doguma Jumze Samet Kanjin Jebe Suyin Tsongkhapa Losan Tawe Shamla So One Day. And then as you continue reciting, this is the visualization that we need to do. Once again, clear light wisdoms flows forth in the form of orange nectar. From Lama Tsongkhapa, the wisdom, the clear light wisdom, flows in the form of nectaria, forth in the form of orange nectar, filling my body, and then here same, from the atoms of the nectar clarified the form of Arapatana. So here, instead of visualizing all that atoms of nectar transforming into a Manjushri, the body of Manjushri, so now instead of that, we imagine every atom of the nectar transforms into the mantra Arapatana. So now your body, inside your body, is filled with countless numbers of Arapatanadi. And from those countless Arapatanadi, light radiates, light emits. And what does it do? Then it hooks down. It brings down the clear wisdom of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the form of mantras, in the form of Arapatanadi. So light emits from the mantra within you, and then from the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, then what you call mantras emits and then enters into our body and then dissolves into the existing countless Arapatanadi. And that's when we imagine that we have received, we have achieved clear wisdom. So now second one is not so difficult, isn't it? So now third one. So once again, we make requests. So here it is up to you. So you can focus or you can spend more time on, let's say, great wisdom. If you are what you call more interested in developing or enhancing great wisdom, then you focus more time, you spend more time on that visualization. And if you are interested in increasing your quick wisdom, then this is the visualization that you will spend more time on this. So here, once again, so we make requests, Lama Tsongkhapa to bless us or to request Lama Tsongkhapa to increase or enhance our quick wisdom. We need quick wisdom to understand all the meanings of the Buddha's teachings within a short period of time. So we make these requests. So when we make requests, of course, we can think about it. You can even verbally say it, but mainly you are reciting Lama Tsongkhapa's that 5-line mixima, and then of course your thought will be making that request. So upon doing that, upon hearing our requests, the wisdom, quick wisdom, flows forth in the form of orange nectar, filling our bodies, and then from the atoms of the nectar, clarified. I don't know what they clarified. Maybe this is it makes more sense to you. So there is the translation, but basically it transforms in the form of orange D syllable, because now here the main focus is on the syllable D. So earlier it was the mantra Arapajanadi. Here only D. So all the atoms, each individual atom, so there will be countless atoms. So each individual atoms transforms into syllable D, and from that numerous syllable D, light radiates, and then as a result, the quick wisdom of the victorious ones of the 10 directions and their sons absorbs into us in the form of that seed syllable, which is D. And then it fills up our bodies. And that's when we imagine that we have received quick wisdom. That in other words, our quick wisdom has now really improved or enhanced or reached the same level as Lama Tsongkhapa's one. So this is how D looks like, what D looks like. So finally, the visualization, we focus on the visualization to improve the profound wisdom. So we make like the earlier ones, we make requests to Lama Tsongkhapa to enhance our profound wisdom. And upon our request, once again, profound wisdom flows forth in the form of orange nectar, filling my body. So this time, from the atoms of the nectar clarified in the form of text and sword. So implements, Lama Tsongkhapa's implement or Manjushri's implement. So Manjushri is holding a text and a sword. Yeah. So we imagine. So this text you can imagine as the perfection of wisdom text, or if you are currently trying to understand or studying something specific, let's say if you are studying Shantideva's text, then you can imagine that as that particular teaching. And then of course sort the way the Manjushri, I have image here. So now all that nectar, the atoms of nectar now transforms into scriptures or Manjushri thoughts. And then our body is now filled with these implements, these two implements. And from these two implements, the light radiates, and then the profound wisdom of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions absorbs into us in the form. So in reality, it is the profound wisdom of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, but it comes, what do you call it? It comes down, is it? It enters into us in the form of scriptural texts or thoughts. And then it dissolves into the implements that we have already visualized within us. And then, merging these two fills up our whole body. And that's when we imagine that we have received the blessings or we have gained the profound wisdom. So these are the specific visualizations for each wisdom. So as I mentioned before, you can focus on one of the four. So, for example, you can do this. So today, or maybe 1 week, because most of us do Migzima recitation on daily basis. So we normally do 1 round of mala. So if you are doing that, what you can do is maybe the first week you can focus more on the great wisdom. Second week, you focus or you spend more time on clear wisdom. And then third week on quick wisdom, and the fourth week on the profound wisdom. So that becomes in one month you have spent enough time on all the four. But of course, if you really want to do this as a retreat, 1 week, 2 week, or even just 10 days retreat, then you can choose, because normally retreats are made out of 4 sessions. So first session you focus on the one, and then second session you move on to the second one. Or you can do in numbers if you have time. You do 100,000 times, and all that time you spend most of your visualization on the first wisdom, which is the great wisdom. And then second 100,000 you can focus on the clear wisdom. Third 100,000 on the quick likewise. So that means, of course, by the end of your retreat, you would have at least finished reciting Lama Tsongkhapa's Migzima, the request prayer, at least 700,000. So that would be great. So normally, if you are not particular about numbers, normally we just do the shortest, normally the shortest retreat we do is 100,000. We try to finish 100,000 rounds of Migzima. So it's up to you. So as I mentioned before, that I try to finish this so that, even one of you are interested to really do this as your daily practice or do a retreat. So this can be helpful. So that kind of concludes the visualization. So you first start with the preliminary practices. You do the refuge and bodhicitta. After that, you start with the actual Ganden Lha Gyäma, Ganden Lha Gyäma, and then you finish to the end before the supplication, and that's when you spend time doing the Migzima recitation. So if you are doing on daily basis, you can do 1 round of mala or 10 rounds of mala, depending on your time. And then, so during the recitation, all that visualization we need to incorporate, we need to bring in. Now you have finished whatever number you are trying to recite. So at the end, so we make prayers, we make requests. This is kind of a dedication as well as a request. So here, the common requests, the prayers of request that we recite are these. So I have just put it here. May my wisdoms of listening, reflecting, and meditating increase. May my wisdoms of explaining, debating, and composing develop. So here we are requesting that all that 7 types of wisdoms be developed, be enhanced. May I be granted the supreme and common realizations, the 2 attainments. Please bless me to quickly become like you. So basically we are requesting Lama Tsongkhapa that may we also become like you. May my transcendental wisdoms of simultaneously born great bliss arise. May stains of mistakenly grasping things as real be purified. May my net of doubts that are only mind be cut off. Please bless me to quickly become like you. May I not give rise to hearsay for even a second. So this is important because, as I mentioned in the first class, that no Guru Yoga practice is a Guru Yoga. No Guru Yoga practice is a Guru Yoga practice if you imagine or if you view your Guru separate from that particular deity. So Guru is that deity, deity is that Guru. So there is no separate identity. It's just a different form. But in reality, it is the same Guru. So that's why we need to have that Guru devotion thing here. So here we include that prayers. May I not give rise to hearsay for even a second. In regard to the actions of the glorious Guru, may I see whatever actions are done as pure. With this devotion, may I receive the Guru's blessing in my heart. So these are the prayers or requests that you can make at the end of your Mikzima recitation. And then if you are up to, you can even include in here the foundations of good qualities. You can recite that, or you can include the 8 verses on mind training. I normally recite the 8 verses on mind training. So when you recite the 8 verses of mind training or the foundation of good qualities, you are still visualizing. Visualizing Lama Tsongkhapa and the 2 disciples in front of you. So when you finish each stanza, when you say, "Oh, bless me with this and this," so you really imagine that Lama Tsongkhapa and the 2 disciples bless you to achieve that. So these are optional, so depending on your time, so you can do. If you don't do, it's okay. And now the dissolution. So we need to dissolve the merit field. So there are special kind of stages or process when we dissolve the merit field. So here we recite this first line. Magnificent and precious root Guru, please abide on the lotus seat at my crown. This should be crown. Lotus seat at my crown, guide me with your great kindness and grant me the realization of your holy body, speech, and mind. So when we recite this, the visualization is that. So in the front, you have Lama Tsongkhapa and the 2 disciples. So what happens is the 2 disciples kind of merge. So one is on the right, one is on the left. So the right one merge into Lama Tsongkhapa's right. Is it right or left now? Right side, or the left one from the left side. So it merges into Lama Tsongkhapa. And even the throne, the 2 thrones, kind of merge or dissolves into Lama Tsongkhapa's throne. Then Lama Tsongkhapa's throne also dissolves into Lama Tsongkhapa, and then you invite Lama Tsongkhapa on the crown of your head. So this time Lama Tsongkhapa is facing the same way you are facing. So Lama Tsongkhapa, there's no throne, no throne, but just Lama Tsongkhapa on your. Let me refresh here. Let me refresh. Yeah, so Lama Tsongkhapa is facing as the same direction as you. So Lama Tsongkhapa is now just sitting on the lotus. Imagine that you have a lotus on your crown, and there Lama Tsongkhapa is sitting the way same side as you on there. So that's when you recite, Magnificent and precious Lord Guru, please abide on the lotus seat at my crown, and then guide me with your great kindness, and grant me the realization of your, so bless, give me the blessings of your holy body, speech, and mind. So that's the first stage. So you have now dissolved the two disciples, and only Lama Tsongkhapa is left. That is also now on your crown of your head. So the second stage is, now you need to bring Lama Tsongkhapa to your heart. So in the lotus seat at your heart. So here we have to bring Lama Tsongkhapa from that, what you call the central chakra. So central chakra is not so huge. So that's why you can reduce the size of Lama Tsongkhapa. So now what you do is, when you recite these prayers, imagine that reduced image, maybe, yeah, I don't know, 2 feet or 3 feet or something, not feet, sorry, inch, 3 inches. There's no fixed measurement, but smaller, I think it is easier to visualize. So whatever that can really pass through the chakra, the central chakra. So now you are inviting Lama Tsongkhapa, you are asking Lama Tsongkhapa or requesting Lama Tsongkhapa to enter through the central chakra and then remain at the heart of your, at the lotus seat at your heart. So as you recite this, as we recite this, we have to imagine that really happened. So magnificent and precious Lord Guru, please abide on the lotus seat at my heart. Guide me with your great kindness and grant me the supreme and common realizations. So you are requesting Lama Tsongkhapa to descend at the heart, at your heart, and then asking to grant us the two attainments, supreme and mundane realizations or common realizations. So now Lama Tsongkhapa is at the heart, so in the lotus, on the lotus seat. So we want Lama Tsongkhapa to remain there forever. So now we are making this request. Magnificent and precious Lord Guru, please abide on the lotus seat at my heart, guide me with your great kindness, and remain steadfast until I attain the essence of enlightenment. So we are making the request to Lama Tsongkhapa to remain at our heart until we achieve enlightenment. So here the visualization, normally they say that because it is on the lotus, so you kind of imagine that you have tied the petals of the lotus, so that Lama Tsongkhapa is in that lotus. So basically, we imagine that Lama Tsongkhapa has agreed to remain at our heart as long as we become, or until we become Buddha. So that's the dissolution. So now we have completed the Lama Tsongkhapa. So in the end, you can conclude with a dedication. By the force of the victorious one Tsongkhapa, acting as our direct Mahayana virtuous friends in all our lives, May we never turn away for even a second from the pure path highly admired by the victorious ones. Basically, we are dedicating our merits to become a cause to be not separated from Lama Tsongkhapa, to be with Lama Tsongkhapa all the time, and to meet Lama Tsongkhapa Dharma all the time. So that's the end. So what was I going to say? So I think I have at least covered the gist of it. So if one is interested to do this practice, so I think you have enough material or enough understanding to do so. So I wish you best of luck, and hopefully you will be able to practice this, do this practice on daily basis. And yes, I remember now. I will be posting on our website, Kajuling website, the Lama Tsongkhapa or Guru Yoga or the Ganden Lha Gyäma, the text. When you go online, you will see Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga, but it is too complicated. So I have made it, I have simplified it. So I will post it there. So you can download from there and then use it and do this prayer every day. Because some people that I have come across, they are keen to do something particular, some particular practices, but they are lost at what to do. So this would be a very good start for you if you are one of those who are lost at what to do. So all the best, and I'll see you when I see you. Hopefully that will be soon. Tashi Telek.